Hello, MUS119. This is Module 3C with minor scale construction and minor key scale forms. So, before we start minor key stuff, I wanted to reiterate what is the formula for a major scale. If you are thinking whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, you are exactly correct. A minor scale formula is as follows. The pattern of the whole and half steps is whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. So, if we were looking at this, you have A to B, right? So you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, making that whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole pattern of whole and half steps. If I were to make this a major scale, it would sound like this. F sharp, G sharp, A. So what exactly is different in this minor scale from the major scale? Think about it for a second. What notes are different? So, the third scale degree, minor, major, when I hit the right key. So you have A, B, C for minor, so your third scale degree will typically be lowered by 1/2 step. Oh my gosh, my pen isn't working. And then we have D, E, F sharp, right? So your 6th and 7th scale degrees. So scale degrees 3, 6, and 7 are lowered from the major. Same for this E major, or E minor scale, sorry. So that's the minor scale, right? As opposed to your major scale. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. So that's your minor key scale formula. So constructing a minor scale, let's try F minor and E minor. We are going to write all the note names similar to the major scale from F to F. There's going to be one of each note name, and then you'll decide the whole and half steps that you need to create the minor scale and add accidentals where needed. But we didn't. Let's practice. So this is our natural minor scales, right? So disregard this A flat. I want to start with F. So you have an F, a G, an A, a B, a C, D, E, F, right? And we need to have a whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole, right? So if I'm looking between F and G, do I have a whole step? Yes, you do. Then between G and A, you need a half step. So you need to lower that by 1/2 step, right? From G to A. So you would need to make this an A flat. We would not make it a G sharp because we're not skipping or repeating any note names, and you have an A written here. So this is the pitch that you have to change to lower it. Now between A flat and B, you need to have a whole step. So between A flat to B, you have 3 half steps. So what do you need to do to make it a whole step? How do you need to change this B? If you said a flat, that was wonderful and correct. So you have a B flat. Then between B flat and C, you need a whole step. Do you have that? Yes, you do. Between C and D, which I drew very poorly, between C and D, you need to have a half step. Do you have that? No, you don't. So you need to make this D, A, D flat. right? And then between D flat to E, you need a whole step, and you need that to have an E flat. And if you notice, from your major scale, which just has B flat, right? F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, and F. Or, sorry, there's no E flat in a major scale. But F major, right? Between F major and what I have as F minor, your 3rd, 6th, and 7th scale degrees are lowered by a half step. So you could think about your minor scales in comparison to your major key as well, if you were just writing that out. So like over here where you have a C minor scale, right? What we know, C major, you have no sharps, no flats, right? So written out here I have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I want to just show you this really cool trick. So you have the 3rd scale degree, the 6th scale degree, and the 7th scale degree, all lowered by 1/2 step. So you can lower a natural note by making it flat, and you have C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. So you have a whole, half, whole, half. Sorry, that's a major scale. Oh my goodness. Whole, half, whole, half, whole. Great. So between C to D, you do have your whole step. Between D to E flat, you have a half step. Between E flat to F, you have a whole step. Between F to G, you have a whole step. Between G and A flat, you have a half step. A flat to B flat, you have a whole step. And between B flat and C, you also have a whole step, as opposed to your major scale. So I'm going to play the major and then the minor so that you can hear the difference. As opposed to the minor, flat 3, lower. So let's look at the D sharp minor. You have a D sharp, E, F, G, A, B, C, D sharp. So make sure that when you see this, a D sharp or an A flat, that you're writing down the tonic as written. This is not a D minor scale, this is a D sharp minor scale, and we are going to write whole, half, whole, half, whole. By the way, this is exercise 4G. I didn't say it, but it's written at the top. So between D sharp and E, you need a whole step, but you only have what? A half step. So between D sharp and E, you need a whole step. So how do you create that whole step? You need to raise that E to an E sharp, making it sound like an F. So what about between E sharp and F? You need to have a half step. So think about that. Think about your E sharp. Okay, an E sharp looks written as an E sharp, but it sounds like an F. And I have an F written for my next note. So you need to create a whole step above that E sharp or F. So that would be an F sharp. Right? Then between F sharp to G, you need to have a whole step, but you only have, do you have a half step or a whole step there? Between F sharp and G is a whole step, or a half step, so you need to make that G a G sharp. Between G sharp and A, you need a whole step. Do you have that or no? The answer is no, so you need to make that A an A sharp. So you have G sharp to A sharp. Between A sharp or B flat and a B, you need a half step, which you have. Between B and C, you need a whole step, so you need to make this C something else. What would you change that to? If you said a C sharp, that is 100% correct. And a D sharp. So when I play this all out, I do have the appropriate number of whole and half steps here, so I have that sounds pretty minor to me. And we'll do the last one, A minor. So we'll write out all our note names, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, right? And we're going to write out a whole, half, whole, half, whole. We don't have any accidentals in our tonics, so we have between A and B, we need a whole step, which we have. Between B and C, we need a half step, which we have. Between C and D, do we have a whole step there? Yes, sir. Yes, we do. Between D and E, do we have a whole step? Yes. Between F and G, do you have between E and F, do you have a whole, oh my gosh, between E and F, do you have a half step? Yes. Between F and G, do you have a whole step? Yes. And between G to A, do you have a whole step? Yes. A minor has no sharps and no flats, similar to the C major key, which we'll talk about this relationship in another module. So you have so this is different than the A major scale because your 3rd, 6th, and 7th scale degrees are lowered by 1/2 step. So sweet. So that's that. Constructing it. So unfortunately, the minor keys are not as nice as the major keys, and there are different scale forms that take place in the minor tonality. So when the tonality was established, one of the biggest distinguishing features was the strong gravitational pull between the 7th scale degree, or the leading tone, and the tonic, or our kind of home base of the key. So in a major key, there's a half step between scale degree 7 and scale degree 1, creating a pull to the tonic. In minor keys, there's typically a whole step between scale degrees 7 and 1. So like that A minor scale, A, B, C, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is scale degree 7, right? It doesn't really go anywhere. So, to give the key flexibility, there are 3 different forms of minor scales, which we'll go over momentarily. A natural minor scale, which is what we've been doing, consists of the notes in the minor key signature. From a major key, the major scale is lowered. You lower scale degrees 3, 6, and 7 by 1/2 step. Then a melodic minor scale gives the typical notes used when composing in minor key melodies, which we'll find out momentarily, but you keep the lowered 3rd scale degree and raise scale degrees 6 and 7 on the way up on the scale, and lower them back down on the way down. And then harmonic minor, which contains the notes that are most typically used when the notes are combined to make harmony or chords. So, I wanted to just kind of play through after some melodies. I'm saying that so I don't forget it. But natural minor, we know this. We have our whole, half, whole, half, whole, scale pattern, right? So you have so essentially this natural minor scale is the basis for 2 other altered scale forms, which are melodic and harmonic minor. So this is also what we use to create a key signature, which we'll talk about in a separate video as well, which is essentially just your order of flats and sharps in the front, telling you what notes are exactly flat or sharp. But we will always use our natural minor scale for our natural minor key signatures and basing off of any other minor scale form. So you can compare major to your natural minor, and then natural, from like your natural minor scale, you can compare your harmonic minor and melodic minor. Then you have a harmonic minor scale. So it serves as the pool of materials typically used for the notes that combine to make chords and accompany melodies. So your scale degree 7 is raised by 1/2 step. So instead of you get kind of funky and you have kind of giving you that pull. This one you'll only see ascending. You're still going to have, from your major key, you lower scale degrees 3 and 6, and you'll raise scale degree 7. So you could think about it as a natural minor scale with a raised 7th scale degree by 1/2 step. One really important thing to remember when we're doing this is that when I say, oh, we're lowering it by 1/2 step, like the pitch, we're not adding a flat in all scenarios. It just depends. So if you have, you could think about this diagram. You have a natural note, right? If you wanted to raise that by 1/2 step, you have a sharp. If you wanted to raise a sharp by 1/2 step, you'd make it a double sharp. If you want to lower a natural note, you would make it a flat, and to lower a flat note by a 1/2 step, you'd make it a double flat. So this is all by 1/2 step. So this is the basis of what I'm using. So when I'm saying I'm raising this note by 1/2 step, I'm looking at scale degree 7 and I have an E natural, right? Well, I have that E natural because in my key signature, I know originally in the scale I were to have an E flat. So you raise that flat note by 1/2 step to make it natural. So that's harmonic minor. And melodic minor, you will always see the scale ascending and descending. Whenever you see melodic minor, you will be asked to write or identify it, and you will always see it ascending and descending, because it has a distinct ascending and descending form. So ascending, you're going to raise scale degrees 6 and 7 from the natural minor scale by 1/2 step, and descending, you're going to lower them again to make it a natural minor scale. One way to make this look a little less scary for you to remember is if you're looking over here, this is just a natural minor scale going down. So if I were to play this, right? One really cool thing that melodic minor is used for is in songs. So if you have, I'm just going to use this example, right, of this minor key little melody that I have. Oh, sorry, I played it wrong. Ha ha ha. So there, did you hear that? Leading up to the tonic, I had da, 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 and then we're going away. Da, 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 da. So I'm going to play it one more time. I want you to listen to that, ascending and descending. This is different from the major key, because in major you would have a raised 3rd scale degree, and it would sound, the second measure of it would sound the same. So it would sound like this. Oh my gosh, I'm playing it in minor. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you could tell I am not a piano player. But anyways, you get the point with the melodic minor. Another song, actually, that might be in more of your repertoire is the Beatles. And in the Beatles, their song Yesterday, which I'm going to pull up an audio clip of, uses the natural minor scale. So just give me 1 second there. You could hear it. Yesterday. Well, I somehow don't have any Wi-Fi at the school, so that's weird. But right, so you have right, and now listen. So going up. So you got that melodic minor influence, which is used in other melodies as well. So that's melodic minor. Harmonic minor is more used for the chords. You'll raise your 7th scale degree of whatever key you're in the chords. But we'll get to that when we get to that. So I want to practice a little bit. Let's practice with exercise 4J. Writing out natural minor, harmonic minor, and melodic minor. So the first thing that I'm going to do for myself, for my sanity and remembrance of everything, is I'm going to write out my natural minor, harmonic minor, and melodic minor scales, like their forms. So I know that this is a whole, half, whole, half, whole. Oh my goodness. And then your G sharp harmonic minor, you'll have a natural minor with a raised 7th scale degree. And then on the way up for your melodic minor, you'll have raised scale degrees 6 and 7. 6 and 7 are raised by 1/2 step, and you'll lower them on the way back down, creating a natural minor scale. So if I were to do this, we'd have G, A, B, C, D, D, E, F, G, right? And I know that this is G sharp, so I'm going to write in my G sharp here. And I'm going to write out my natural minor scale. So between G sharp to A, we need to have a whole step. Between G sharp to A, do you have a whole step or a half step? That's right, you have a half step, so you need to make this a whole step. So to increase your half step by 1, to increase your half step to a whole step, you would need to make this natural note sharp to raise it by 1/2 step. I'm writing out that accidentals chart at the top for you to look at and reference as well. So we need a half step between A sharp and B. We have that. Between B and C, you need to have a whole step, which we do not have, right? What do we have there? We have a half step, so you need to raise your half step by 1/2 step to make a whole step, right? So you have a C sharp. Between C sharp to D, you need a whole step, which we do not have. Between C sharp to D, how would you make a whole step? You would need to make this a D sharp. Between D sharp to E, you need a half step. Do you have that? Yeah, you do. Between E to F, you need a whole step. So you need to make that an F sharp, right? And then between F sharp and G sharp, you do have a whole step. So if I play this out for you, you have a G sharp natural minor scale. So you have... right? Perfect. The next one that you have is a G sharp harmonic minor scale. So if you have a G sharp here, right? G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, sharp. So, essentially, you could think about this as this is a natural minor scale with a raised 7th scale degree. So you could theoretically just copy and paste your natural minor scale accidentals in, right? So that you could see, and then you have an F sharp here, right? So we're looking to raise the 7th scale degree, which is this F sharp. So if we think, well, we have an F sharp and we need to make it raised by 1/2 step, you would make that a double sharp. So here, instead of writing an F sharp, you're going to write an F double sharp and just put that X on the line right next to it. Cool. So if you look at that, there's not really like a scale pattern for it, but you could notice that between this, instead of having a whole step here, well, I guess instead of having a whole step, that you'd have 3 half steps and then a half step here. So you still have the same like interval of having 4 half steps, but it's just displaced differently. Then for your melodic minor scale, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now we're going to go down. I'm going to make sure that I write my G sharps. And I'm going to raise scale degrees 6 and 7. So you could literally copy and paste your natural minor scale for going down especially. So we have an F sharp, we have a D sharp, we have a C sharp, we have an A sharp, right? And your G sharp. So that's on the way down. But on the way up, you're going to have a little bit of a difference. So you can write out your natural minor scale, right? And then, so this is the natural minor scale. And we know we're going to alter scale degrees 6 and 7 by 1/2 step. So if you have an E natural, how are you going to raise that natural note by 1/2 step? You're going to make that natural note a sharp, right? So you have that. And then what about this sharp note? How are you going to raise that one by 1/2 step? We did that in the harmonic minor scale. So it is an F double sharp. So you'll write that X down. So that's how I would go about doing melodic and harmonic minor scales. I wouldn't recommend thinking about it in terms of the half and whole steps because that's kind of a lot. You could just think about, okay, I know my natural minor, like I'm really solid on that. Yeah, so let me play these for you so that you can actually hear it. Have a little listening break for yourself. So this is the natural minor scale. Right? G sharp, harmonic minor, so we're raising the 7th scale degree. And then G sharp, melodic minor, so I'm going to play the ascending and descending of this. On the ascending version of it, going upwards, I'm going to raise scale degrees 6 and 7 by 1/2 step and lower them on the way down. Kind of like Yesterday, the song by the Beatles. Oh my gosh. I'll start over. Yeah, so that is your G sharp, natural minor, harmonic minor, and melodic minor scales. I have a couple other exercises for 4J. So why don't I guide you through the natural minor and then give you the answers for harmonic minor and melodic minor. So first thing we're going to do for all of these is write out each note that you have. So you have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Oh! This is being so finicky with me today. My apologies. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then ascending and descending. And this is on 4J, by the way, if you wanted to follow along and complete that. So the first thing that we're going to do is write out our natural minor scale. We have C in our tonic. There's no other accidentals. You have C to D, so whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole, right? And I could write this a little bit better. F, G. Okay, so between C to D, you need a whole step, which you have. Between D to E, you need to lower that to an E flat, making that a half step. Between E flat to F, you have a whole step. Between F to G, you also have a whole step. Between G to A, you need to have a half step, which you do not have, so you will need to make that an A flat. Between A flat to B, you need to have a whole step, but you have a lot more than a whole step right now, so you need to make that a half step. So you need to have a C natural minor scale. And if you think about it, we know that C major has no sharps, no flats. And if you look, our 3rd, 6th, and 7th scale degrees are being lowered by 1/2 step. If I were to draw out that diagram again, you'd be able to see the natural sharp, double sharp, flat, and double flat diagram over here. So I'm lowering those natural notes by 1/2 step, making them flat. So if I were to play this, it would be like this. Alright, so take a look at the harmonic minor and melodic minor. Think that your harmonic minor, you're going to take the natural minor with a raised 7th scale degree. That little caret means scale degree. And for your melodic minor, you're going to raise scale degrees 6 and 7 on the way up and lower them on the way down. So give that a try, pause the video, and I'll write in the answers. Alright, so these are the answers. So you have, oh, that's literally wrong. Write in, instead of just leaving it natural, so like over here for your raised 7th scale degree, you have a B natural. Please make sure that you write in the natural sign for these so that I know that you're cognitively aware. Yes, I know and understand that this is a B natural, and I'm changing it, especially if you had a key signature written, which we'll get to later, but, yeah, so you have a B natural here with an E flat and an A flat, and then here you're going to raise scale degrees 6 and 7 on the way up. I put in those natural signs to indicate that there is a difference, and then boom, down, down. So those are your minor scales. All right, and I'll let you guys try out this one for 4J as well. I'll submit the answers to that. So if you want to take a pause and try and do it all by yourself, that works with me. Oh my gosh. Okay, so over here we have a natural minor scale. We have our whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole, right? You have A flat to B flat, C flat, so you have all flats, right? So when we're raising scale degree 7 over here, we're going to make sure that we make that flat a natural. as well, so that would sound like this. And then our melodic minor scale is like our natural minor, but raised scale degrees 6 and 7 on the way up, indicated by those natural signs, and lowered on the way down. And those are the only two changes that you have there. Oh. Oh my gosh. Let me actually read the notes. Yeah. So that's that. Please follow this lecture with Chapter 4 in the textbook. You can complete exercise 4F online, 4G, and 4J, which also contain the content from this lecture. I hope that it was helpful, and please email me if you have any questions whatsoever. Thanks.